Bonte's a little under the weather. And we got Carrington Harrison joining us on the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear to you on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands in Lathrop? And Carrington, you are a host at our sister station in Kansas City, 96.5 The Fan. And you have not heard this promo from what my boss told me. You guys are running this promo all week, and I'm going to play it for you, and then I want you to react to it. Here's the promo 96.5 is running this week.
Remember when an NFL coach who wears a flat-brimmed hat decided to receive the ball to start overtime and then went limp and kicked a field goal after already losing a Super Bowl 4 years earlier to the same team? Yeah, us too.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! Nicole Hardman!
Chiefs and Niners, Sunday at 3:25, right here on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5, The Fan.
Carrington, River Islands guest line. What do you think of that promo?
I guess I have two thoughts. Number one, I don't know why you left the stadium disappointment. You should be used to losing to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's something that you guys have done so many times over the course of the last 4 seasons. This should be second nature. And I didn't hear anything factually inaccurate in the promo. We got to get back to the point where we just accept facts is facts. And somewhere over the last 8 years, we started arguing against facts. We can debate opinions. I love opinions. We can't debate facts. Choosing to receive the ball first in overtime is dumb. There is no logic behind it. You cannot, the math says no. The math says that you're wrong. It was the wrong decision then. It's the wrong decision now. The Chiefs haven't lost since beating San Francisco. You guys have been doing all the losing over the course of the first month of the season. I'm happy to be on today.
I hate you, bro. I mean, I thought I hated Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid more than anyone currently. You might be coming into the top 3 at some point because I don't have much of a rebuttal, which sucks. And I'm going to sound like a whiner if I bring up anything other than, yeah, we got beat twice and we had double-digit leads in each one of those games, and we completely fell flat on our face. I'm at the stadium. I'm watching the game in the overtime, and I turned before overtime, and I said to Bonte, we're lucky they're only getting a field goal here right before the end of regulation. That's number one. They knocked him, I think it was Kelce, out at like the 2 or 3 yard line. He could have scored a touchdown there. And then when they had the ball, I said, all right, well, since we have the ball, you have to get 6, a.k.a. 7. You cannot kick a field goal because they're going to have 4 chances all the way down the field knowing what they need in their back pocket. You have to get the touchdown. And he's like, well, but if you don't get it and then all they need is a field goal, it's like, bro, the game is over regardless. Like, I don't know. The whole overtime sequence is just a nightmare. I don't even have a question. I hate you guys a lot.
No, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just the whole logic behind it. I mean, I think Kyle Shanahan is one of the 3 best coaches in the NFL, but he has just had a very questionable history in the Super Bowl. We don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of his Super Bowl history. And I do want to point out, you mentioned the 2 times in the Super Bowl. The last time Kansas City came to San Francisco, they smoked you guys. They just own you guys. Like, you guys are owned by the York family. No, you guys are owned by the Mahomes family.
Oh, God, man, just doing some drive-bys here, Carrington. This is brutal on a Monday morning. Maybe I got to ask, obviously, Niner fans out here, there's an obsession with the Chiefs and the Chiefs fan base. I'm kind of curious, on the flip side, though, how much do the Chiefs and Chiefs fans think about the Niners at all? Are we occupying any sort of real estate in the mindset of Chiefs fans right now?
No, not really. But, I mean, that's not a disrespect towards San Francisco. They're just not in the AFC, where a lot of the thoughts with Chiefs fans are centered around Buffalo and Baltimore because you have to go through them to go to the Super Bowl. There's a little bit of kind of Houston hive, I would say, but I always argue on my show, like the only reason the Chiefs fans feel that way about Houston is we've never seen Houston fail. Well, we've seen Buffalo fail in big moments. We've seen Baltimore fail in those big moments, Cincinnati. We've never seen Houston fail. Now, good team. I'm excited to see what they can do in January, but just a lot of the conversation with Chiefs fans is just directed towards teams in the AFC, not the Niners in the NFC.
Yeah, it's so difficult for Niner fans. Like for me, for example, I'm a fifth-generation city boy. I grew up near Candlestick. I love this team, and I always think about the way Like the way a Cincinnati Bengal fan views Joe Montana and Bill Walsh, they lost 2 Super Bowls to those guys. 2, and they were in both those games. And could make an argument they could have won both of those games. Their goal line stand in 81, and obviously the 2-minute drive by Joe. And there's no rebuttal. Like, as much as I hate you guys and I hate Mahomes, I respect him so much because he's that good. Andy's that good. Kelce's that good. Chris Jones is everything Nick isn't in the fourth. Nick Bosa in the fourth quarter. I don't have a rebuttal, and it sucks to have to swallow it. And I feel like the Rockets sending an Excel spreadsheet with all of my issues with the league, and it feels so lame because at the end of the day, you got the best player on the planet in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a feeling that you guys should be used to. I mean, it's not much different than Golden State over the course of the last decade. Like, we all appreciate Steph Curry, and he is the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. This past Olympics was the first time that I ever cheered for Steph Curry since he's joined the NBA. I loved him at Davidson, but once he became LeBron's rival and started winning championships, I mean, what you're describing is how the Rockets feel about the Warriors. Like, James Harden and Chris Paul should probably have one ring, but they happen to play the exact same time as the Golden State Warriors. Like, there is just those teams in the league that just you have to go through them, and they just plant their flag as this is our time in the NFL, the same way that the Steelers did in the 70s or the Niners in the 80s or the Cowboys. Like, this is just the time of the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know how long it's going to go on. Maybe it's another 5 years. Maybe it's another 12 years. Eventually it will end. But the point is just you got to gobble up as many championships. Yeah. The thing that's interesting to me about Kansas City, different than even the Brady era, is other people got rings during the Brady era. I mean, Peyton Manning won a championship. Aaron Rodgers won a championship. Russell Wilson won a championship during that. Ben Roethlisberger. You know, there's a handful of guys. No one else has won a championship in that conversation with Patrick Mahomes. Purdy doesn't have one. Lamar doesn't have one. Josh Allen. Like, my biggest question isn't really when the Chiefs' run is going to end. Is, hey, when do one of these quarterbacks under the age of 30 win a championship? The only one that has one is Patrick Mahomes.
No, that's a really good point there. I mean, and the only quarterback that's been able to beat Patrick Mahomes on the playoff stage has been Tom Brady, who's obviously not in the league anymore. I guess, yeah, Joe Burrow. So I guess in the Super Bowl stage, I guess I should say. But yeah, Brady and Burrow, the only two guys who have been able to figure him out. You know, so over here in San Francisco, obviously, you know, we watch Patrick Mahomes with, you know, with hatred, with respect, whatever, because he's just that good. But I'm curious, we got a quarterback here that's kind of taken this region by storm, and Brock Purdy, 23 of 38 in the Super Bowl with a touchdown. Not the most electric performance that he's put out, but still, I thought he was not the reason why I thought the 49ers lost that Super Bowl. I'm just kind of curious, when you look at Brock Purdy and just, going from Mr. Irrelevant to where he's at right now, where he is on the cusp of signing a contract that could be paying him north of $60 million a year. What are your overall thoughts right now of Brock Purdy and the job he's been doing with this team this year? He's scrambling a lot more. And if you saw the breaking news story, Brock Purdy signs a contract that'll pay him $60+ million a year, how would you react to that?
I actually like Brock Purdy. My feelings on the NFL, I would say over the course of the last 5 years have changed. And maybe that's just watching so much Patrick Mahomes. Like, we just beat this concept of it's a quarterback league, it's a quarterback league. And of course, you can't win without a quarterback. But if you look at all the teams that you would consider to be good in the league, they are balanced for the most part, and they can get stops and get off of the field. So I like what San Francisco is doing. Like, no one thinks that Brock Purdy is Josh Allen. No one thinks he's Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. But, I mean, you have a team that has a clear identity with their ability to run the football, whether it's with Christian McCaffrey, who I think is the best running back in the league, or Jordan Mason, who I think filled in really well. And then you put good parts and pieces around him that have allowed him to have success. And, I mean, if you look at the NFC right now, sure, everybody's high on Minnesota. Everybody's high on the Commanders right now, and I get it. But, I mean, San Francisco is probably still the team that you're going to have to go through in the NFC, and maybe Detroit. We'll see what they look like now after the Hayden Hutchinson injury. So the NFC, to me, is more intriguing than the AFC, just because one team has just dominated the AFC over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. You could make a case for 6 different teams in the NFC being the best team, and I wouldn't really push back on you. But I like Brock Purdy. I think he's a more than capable quarterback, and as long as they continue to be an offense that continues to stockpile and draft talent and keep them around Brock Purdy, I have no question that he will continue to work.
Carrington Harrison, The Drive, 96, The Fan, in Kansas City, joins us right now. All right, so I'm looking at this team, and you guys have done such a great job just trading out pieces, drafting, developing. I mean, you draft the kid Xavier Worthy, and it feels like he's getting better every single week. Obviously, Rashee Rice's injury is just huge. Pacheco draft, he's out. Huge injury. But you get Hunt to come in, and he's just, it's like he never missed a beat. You got Noah Gray stepping in, but Kelce has a big bounce back week. I look at the defense, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, Bolton. I mean, you guys got so many playmakers, but you are decimated with injuries. Where are they at right now coming off the bye week?
That's a great question. I mean, I call it the wheel of misfortune that eventually it's going to land on your team. I mean, you guys are dealing with it right now with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, football is just a series of problem-solving events. You know, Brandon Ayuk's unhappy with the deal. You got to figure that out. Then you lose Christian McCaffrey. Then you got to figure it out with Trent Williams. At least with Kansas City, I think at some point they're going to have to make a move at wide receiver. They just don't have nearly enough at wide receiver. Like, if you're telling me that you're counting on Juju Smith-Schuster to hold up from now until the end of the season, and you're counting on Justin Watson and McCole Hardman, and this is going to get you to the Super Bowl, I think the answer is probably no. A lot of Chiefs fans want them to go get Amari Cooper. He's a name that's popped up a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks. I think we all identify that the Browns are done. They are maybe the worst team in the league. Deontay Johnson is a name that's come up over the course of the last couple of weeks as well as a wide receiver that would make sense. Some people kind of have can they bring Tyreek Hill back? I don't think from a financial standpoint it makes a lot of sense for them to bring Tyreek back. But I think Chiefs fans they are making the playoffs, and now it's about how do you position yourself where you can win 3-4 games in January and early February.
I mean, we talk about the receivers. I mean, I'm stunned that the NFL allowed Xavier Worthy to drop so far down that he could be paired up with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, just what are your thoughts on just the pairing that those two have had this year and the big play threat that Worthy has been for Mahomes?
It kind of stinks just because, you know, this offense hasn't been complete. So I think some of the kind of superpowers of Xavier Worthy has been neutralized just a little bit. But, I mean, in his first game, he scored 2 times on 3 touches. He had the big pass play a couple of weeks ago against the Los Angeles Chargers where it was just basically a streak route. Just, hey, you're faster than everybody else. Mahomes is going to get it to you. I do think that he adds a bit of explosiveness to the Chiefs offense that they just haven't had since the Tyreek Hill injury. Like, this offense, for as great as Patrick Mahomes is, he's near the bottom of the league in like depth of target. Like, he's not really pushing the ball down the field and making a lot of those big plays. So a big reason is Xavier Worthy, like bringing him in. The thing is funny because we were kind of talking about the overtime and the decision to take the ball first. I mean, they got Xavier Worthy from Buffalo. I just have a very simple rule in the NFL. I would never do anything that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid want me to do. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the Chiefs want San Francisco to get the ball first so they know what they need to do when they get the ball. The Chiefs clearly wanted Xavier Worthy to be their team. I mean, draft Keon Coleman with that original pick and let Kansas City figure it out. But I'm not going to give you the tools to ultimately destroy us. It never made any sense to me.
All right, so, you know, you referenced Steph Curry earlier, and we've been very lucky to see his entire career, and our station has really, you know, we've benefited from it. My co-host usually does Warrior pre and post, and they were rock stars among rock stars during the KD era, but this guy's fame is on a whole nother level. I mean, it is, you just say Steph, and no one has a negative thing to say. That being said, we don't take a lot of Steph calls, just in general. For you, your career covering the team, you talk to Patrick Mahomes every single week. A, how cool is that? And then B, how does he resonate with fans, especially on sports talk radio?
Yeah, I think it's just different just because Kansas City is just such a smaller place than San Francisco. I mean, you got to think Kansas City is like the 32nd media market. So the fact that you have the biggest American star, like it would be like if Steph played in Milwaukee. Yeah, sure. Maybe he doesn't kind of get that buzz in San Francisco. But if he was in Milwaukee, like Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, you know, it would be a really big deal. So I think that's it. It's actually funny because I would say over the course of the last year, I would say that Mahomes has kind of taken a backseat to Travis Kelce, that Kelce has just crossed over in such a way where he is now beyond a football player. He is a pop culture star at this point. You know, Taylor Swift has been to at least 10 Chiefs games over the course of the last half year. So Mahomes is clearly number one, but I would say over the last 12 months, it's become much more of a 1A, 1B than it was pre-Taylor Swift.
All right, so I'm kind of curious, Carrington, because I know you talk to Mahomes weekly. You talked to him today, right?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Sometimes we do it on Monday. Some days we do it on Tuesday. So it's a little 50-50. I know that he will be on the show this week at some point. I'm just not sure if it's today or tomorrow.
All right. So I got a question. This is for you, and then I was hoping maybe you could also ask him this question too, because I'd be curious what his answer was. But in either of these two Super Bowls that the Chiefs played against the Niners, was there a moment where in either of those two games where you thought like, wow, like the Niners really have the Chiefs on the ropes here, and if we don't do something, we're going to lose this game? Like, was there a moment in either of these two games where you thought that? And then I would really love it if you could maybe ask Patrick that same thing. Not like, did you ever think you were going to lose, but was there a moment where you thought like, man, we're really kind of got our backs up against the wall here. If we don't do anything, this could be a very sad day if we don't do something.
I never had that feeling in the second Super Bowl just because I've seen the Chiefs do that so many times. And you have to think, I mean, they've been down double digits in all four of the Super Bowls. They were down double digits in the first one, and that's when they get the big play on third down. They were down double digits to Tampa Bay. Now, they didn't come back in that game, but they were down big. They were down big against Philadelphia. They were down 10 at halftime, and then obviously last year. So I never had that feeling last year with them. I definitely had it in the first one. I mean, the Chiefs hadn't won the Super Bowl yet. And, I mean, if you're down 20-10 with less than 10 minutes to go in the Super Bowl, you lose that game. Like, it's pretty crazy to think that the Chiefs were down 10 late in the game and still won the game by double digits. Like the odds, the win probability, it just doesn't even factor in that the Chiefs were able to win that first Super Bowl. That's the one that San Francisco fans should be kicking themselves. Maybe not as much last year, because I think those final two drives for Mahomes, you can't play the quarterback position better than he did on those final two drives. Patrick did not play well in the first Super Bowl. That's the one that San Francisco fans should be thinking we should have won that one.
I mean, they held him in check until like 8 minutes to go in the last one. I thought they did a great job considering all. But, all right, Carrington, you got everybody's blood boiling here in San Francisco. So tell Chiefs fans we hate their guts and we wish them no luck ever. And we actually hope Taylor Swift's next album flops. But other than that, have a great day.
I would say I think we all know her next album is going to flop. She could put out a spoken word album and it's going to sell 2 million copies in the first week. And this is what I think has to burn San Francisco fans. You guys spend your time worried about a city that never thinks about you. Kansas City spends zero amount of time thinking about you. You guys should focus your efforts on other things.
All right, here's what I'm going to focus it on. Here's what I'm going to focus it on, all right? Let's do a bet, a friendly bet, you and me. All right, here's the bet. You guys win. We have Jerry Rice as a contributor to this station. All right. If you guys win this weekend, I'll do my best to get Jerry Rice to do a promo for your show. And, you know, in whatever kind of way you want. So, hey, this is Jerry Rice. I hate the Chiefs, but you're listening to the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah. Something along those lines. But if we win, I need you to get Patrick Mahomes to do one for us.
Okay, you know what? Let me ask the Chiefs, because I'm guessing that Jerry will agree to this. Patrick, I think, would agree to it. I don't know if the Chiefs PR will let Patrick agree to this, but you know what? I will very happily ask Chiefs PR, and I will text you back to let you know.
Please do. Please do. You're a good sport. I hate your guts. I wish you no future fortune whatsoever, and I hope you guys die on Sunday.
Well, you know what? I'm just sitting back, you know. I got to see my team go to the baseball playoffs. You guys didn't get the opportunity to do that. I got a chance to go to the Super Bowl earlier this year and leave happy at the Super Bowl.
Just flush this guy. Flush him. Just get him out of here. I love this guy. Carrington Harrison. We got the bet. Lock it up in gold. And that was a great call, but sorry that the ending was not good. Not good at all. We love you, buddy. You need to contact Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain at flowingwater.net. I mean, you got to be kidding me.